Thank you so much. My name is Emmy Zoomlamai Okello. Welcome to Karachel Community TV. We are here broadcasting live from Atapara Secondary Schools, based here in Oyam District, Uganda. And I'm very much excited today that through the bootcamp program or the convening that we are having for Fitch, we are very excited that there are a lot of activities going on. But today, specifically, I'm so impressed because of the communication actually that was made to the girls about how they should live life in this planet. And I'm very excited that I'm hosting one of the role models within our communities. And today, the girls were so much excited. I first want us to hear more about what he was speaking about to the girls and what kind of transformation do we need. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Solomon.
Thank you so much.
Please, could you just share with us who you are and why you are here today?
Well, thank you so much. And our viewers, it's wonderful to be here in Atapara this morning and mid-morning. My name is Solomon Okello, and I am a community worker. One, I worked as a pastor at New City Bible Church in Lira City. But also I'm founder of Rexen Business Solutions, which we do a lot of things in community empowerment and then training business skills to the youth and to every community member who would want to engage in businesses. And a lot of more other things that I do alongside those two major things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And my wife is Joanne, and we have 4 children. Very important and happy about it.
I think there's so much, the children are so much happy because of having a very generous but also a father who really wants to see the future well to all the children. And today also I was very excited that you are talking the same as a father to the girls that are in secondary schools. So as a father, and you have been speaking to the girls, what do you want to see in the girls that you spoke to them today, but also as your children?
Yeah, one of the greatest privilege of every parent is to see a life born and begins to grow and becomes whatever God wants them to be. And so the privilege is that opportunity of participating in the life of a child from childbirth, child rearing, education, until when they begin to serve. So one of the things I would like to see for children, not only my children, now I don't look at myself as the father to my children only, I mean biological children, but rather look at myself as a father to every child out there who has been born and struggling to make sense in this world we're living in. And my desire is I want to see all of them grow and become what they need to become in serving their community, in building their community, in helping other people in wherever spectrum God places them. Some of them will go to politics, some of them will go to education, some of them will go to agriculture, some of them will go to healthcare, wherever God places them. Man, I want to see them excel and serve the world and bring positive transformation.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I think, like you said, the parents want their children to succeed. And in the African context, we have been talking with you a little bit earlier than this time, that parenting is people see in a different way. Maybe could you share with the viewers, how do you see parenting? We talked about parental engagement in different ways. And we want, as parents, we want our children to succeed, like you just mentioned. But along the way, we have seen children who are going for drug addicts, children who are going to do any other things like prostitutions, and other things. So what do you mean by parenting in this context so that we are able to support other parents as well?
Parenting, like I said, it's a privilege because not everyone is a parent, and also it's a responsibility. Now, in the African setting where we all are born, and by the way, I love being Africa, and this is our area, this is our home.
Yeah.
This is where God has placed us.
Exactly.
And so in the African context, we struggle a lot with parenting or parenthood. Why? Because one, lack of exposure. I grew up in a community where education was not so much valued. That is the first challenge. Number two, grew up in a community where culture and habit dictates behavior of parents. And then also I grew up in a culture where it is your responsibility and no one cares about your child. And if they find your child, they just say, oh, that's Okello's children. No problem with that. So there's a lot of challenge in the African setting in as far as what parenting is about. Now, parenting becomes when a child comes out in the actual typical African setting where things are communal. Parenting should have been a corporate responsibility. And that is what we grew up hearing. People tell us in the past, anybody who finds you along the way and you're going to school and playing along the way, they would beat you. They would chase you to school. They will ensure that you actually reach school. But we're beginning to lose that. Parenting is no more communal as it used to be. No one takes responsibility over somebody's child anymore. And now that leaves us in the African context with a lot of challenge. That if a child is disadvantaged, and I'm saying that in quote, to be born in a family where mother or father doesn't care, that child under this kind of individualistic setting that is cropping up in Africa, that child I can term very disadvantaged. Because then they will be only learning from their mother, nuclear, father, nuclear, and the benefits of the extended support is cut off. And if your father is a drunkard in that nuclear setting, you will learn to be drunkard. If your father is whatever bad habits that community know them to be, then that will be passed on to you without any other worldview challenging that which you believe is true because you have learned from your father or your mother. So African setting, especially in Uganda and northern Uganda where we come from, that's a great challenge that we're already encountering because we are learning a culture of individualistic and then we are forsaking that communal kind of way of life and things have now become individual. This is your thing. This is your child. This is your everything. And now if you have a challenge, you will not have the opportunity of having your children learn from other parents or other members of the community. So that is a challenge that we need to disengage and begin to embrace parenting as a responsibility for everybody. I mean, I like what you're doing here at Fitch, bringing these girls together, challenging their worldview, but also exposing them to different, you're calling us motivational speaker, role model speaker, bringing this kind of people and giving them to the girls so that these girls can actually begin to what we call compare notes. Oh, so there is this kind of worldview. So maybe I did not hear about this. Or could it be integrated into my worldview and make sense of it? This is very good because then now children, the girls, as they grow, they will be now with a broad spectrum, a broad worldview. And the way they approach life will begin to change. Because now they're living in contrast. I learned this in class. I learned this from my mother. But then again, the other speaker taught me this. And when you integrate all that, the things that work cross-culturally will remain with them. The things that doesn't work cross-culturally will definitely fall. But you're giving them a great scheme of knowledge where they can just begin now picking from and face life as life keep presenting challenges and opportunities along the way.
Sure.
So I want to commend you for
Wow.
the work you and your team here are doing for our girls.
Thank you.
And by the way, I was reading the concept for the lead program, and you're saying that for now you're in Oyam district, and then you look forward to scaling to Laon sub-region. I want to challenge you already in Laon sub-region. Because today already I met a girl from Kole, from Bala, where I come from. And that is to tell you, even if we think this is impacting Oyam only,
Yeah.
it's already going everywhere. This is a representation of all the Laon sub-region and even a Choli sub-region.
Yeah.
Because we have children coming to all these schools and being part of this. And just give it 10, 15 years, you will realize that, hey, you're actually working in Gulu. You're working in Lira. You're working in Kole.
Yeah.
And everywhere. So, good job.
Thank you so much, Solomon, for that great articulating issues. Actually, now coming back to what we have been discussing with the girls, but before that, you had one of the ladies from the meeting, ask you a very tough question, and actually it shocked me as well, that many parents decide what their children to be. What can you say about that?
Again, I will not differ from what I told that girl, because it's good for us parents as well.
Exactly.
And I want to, I see it from my heart. I want my children, all of them, and any child God brings my way, if it were possible, I would want them to be maybe doctors.
Yeah.
Like I said, I want my daughter, the only girl I have, to be a lawyer. I mean, I want my son to be an engineer.
Yeah.
Those are my wishes for them. And every parent has a wish for their children. I want my child to be this. And it is for a good reason, by the way. Because no father wants their children not to succeed. Every parent wants their children to succeed and succeed well. And so they will do whatever they can to help their children succeed. However, there are three conflicting realities in what a child becomes in the end. A father or a mother wants a child to become this. A child herself or himself wants to become this.
Yeah.
And then in all that, there is by default God's design for every child.
Yeah.
So my advice to parents and also to learners or children who will have opportunity to watch this is that we all need to be diligent doing what we need to do. As parents, we need to provide all the opportunities and cushion or support that the children desire or need.
Sure.
Whether it is homeschooling, whether it is in-school opportunities, whether it is counseling, whether it is guidance, whatever is within our means to provide for the children, let us do it diligently.
Sure.
Let us do it with the hope. Let us do it with the conviction. And continue to wish them to become whatever you think you want them to be. However, we need to do this with lots of hope in mind.
Exactly.
Knowing whether no future of a child is in your hand. You can only play your part as a parent. A child can only play a part as a child. And let the child become what they need to become. Because what I want is not what that child needs to be.
Sure.
If God in His grace has given me and I have discerned and known that, oh yeah, this child is called here, then I can advise.
Exactly.
But in the absence of that, let's be diligent. Whatever industry, like I'm talking about my daughter, she's going maybe to be a musician, I don't know. But whatever comes, if she becomes a lawyer, praise the Lord.
Okay.
If she doesn't become a lawyer and then became a great musician, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
If she doesn't become all of this and yet become something we have never thought about and yet useful to the community, praise the Lord.
Exactly.
So why should I kill myself because my child is not becoming a lawyer? Why?
Yeah.
So we need to have that hope in mind. And then we just need to be diligent, raise up our children, do whatever we need to do, and leave the rest.
Yeah. I think you're very true. And I think the parents should actually listen to the child and give them the opportunity to choose what they desire. Because look, you said all of us are born with a certain gift
Yes.
that God has placed in us. But also, sometimes when you are forced out of your gift, or you don't discover your gift as you grow, then you become frustrated as you end up with life. So I think that is something key, and it's a great point that you've just made. As we conclude on our discussion here, I just wanted you to tell us, or the viewers, what surprised you today with when you're interacting with the girls. I believe that you might have discovered something which is surprising. Probably could be positive surprise or negative surprise. And also we understand that the girls have been home for 2 years and above. And yesterday they told us that they were from primary 7 sent to senior 1, and they stayed only for about 1 month or 2 months, and then they were sent back home, and right now they're in senior 2. And they did not had that opportunity to study
For
for
1
2
year
for 1 year,
in
but
senior
also
one.
for 1 year in senior 1s, and now they're surprised of their life, and how will they catch up with some of the learnings they were supposed to learn in senior 1, but right now they're in senior 2, and next year they're going to sit a kind of a national examination based on the new lower secondary curriculum reformed. So what surprised you?
Thank you again, Hemi.
Yeah.
You're talking to me who has had enough surprises in life. and part of that,
Yeah.
I have learned in all my life from childhood up to now that life is full of surprises. And let me tell you why that doesn't worry me. Why? Because if it's a positive challenge, like just this what these girls are saying, P7, 1 term in senior 1, and you're in senior 2.
Yeah.
Now that should be already building in the minds of girls, these ones,
Yeah.
to be first of all fast thinkers, to people who doesn't take anything for granted. Why? Because now we have learned that things will not always work the way we thought they should be. That's the first positive challenge that comes in their mind.
Yeah.
2, they are now beginning to challenge the worldview they have. Because now you're seeing national exam, something like your NEP coming, and then you're feeling the sense of inadequacy within yourself because you do not have the normal opportunity, if that is normal, that other people had, and then now you're challenged. So how am I going to make it? How am I going to make it? So that now, in my opinion,
Yeah.
those challenges that they are encountering, already encountered because of the COVID scenario,
Yeah.
should be compelling them to begin to work even harder.
Wow.
2, that challenges to us as parents should give us opportunity to discover the potential in our children. Because, for example, I'm just talking about Deborah. Deborah, COVID came while she was in top class. Now, 2020, 2021, she stayed home. But now she's in P3. Why?
Yeah.
I admitted that there was nothing I could do about the COVID situation. And I did my responsibility, coach this girl. Even when they stay at home, let them attend some kind of schooling, some class. And when she was taken for interview, she actually did so well that the school advised, let her go to P3. For me, I was like, will she manage? How about this? How about this? And I'm discovering that children have very unique potential.
Yeah.
If only we, the parents, supported them and exposed them to those opportunities, they can actually do beyond what we can imagine. I'm seeing it. Deborah now runs a community show called Decos, and he calls it Deborah Community Show.
Wow.
And what does she do? She picks a topic like the other Sunday. She said, Daddy, I want to interview you. I'm like, about what? I want to interview you in
Yeah.
my show.
Yeah.
I was like, tell me what DECOS is. And she used to do this with her mother. And this is a girl who did not attend P1. This is a girl who did not attend P2. But now, in P3, she's already even doing things I could not do while I was her age. You can imagine. So that should challenge us as parents and allow our children to go through things that they will continue to encounter. Because you may think we have seen a lot during COVID, but you can't tell what challenge the world brings tomorrow again. It might be worse than COVID if that is worse.
Sure.
And so we must take that as an opportunity, understand the potential of our children, embrace your responsibility as a parent and do whatever you should do, and then help them. And that is to those who are looking at it as positive challenge.
Sure.
But also there are children who looks at this as really very negative challenge. And academically again, not everybody is gifted the same way.
Yeah.
Some child is gifted academically. Some child is gifted maybe extracurricular.
Exactly.
And so if you begin to judge our children through the challenges they go through academically, we might be like judging a fish by climbing the tree. If you pick a fish and then say, you climb this tree, I don't know what that fish will do. And I don't know what judgment you will come out with. This is the
Exactly.
dumb, useless fish I have ever seen. How can you not climb a tree?
Yeah.
And then you bring a monkey, and a monkey will shoo,
It's up there.
up there.
Yeah.
But again, pick that fish, drop it back in the water. And then before you know it, you can't
See the
even trace
potential.
it.
Yeah.
You see the potential.
Yeah.
So judging our children by what circumstances keep them must not be exactly the way of assessing their competency. So if some child is seeing this as a really terrible misfortune or a challenge, then we want to ask the fundamental question. What is their gifting? Are they gifted academically or they're gifted in other things? By the way, this should also be an opportunity to inform the school, inform parents,
Yeah.
if we should continue pushing this particular one who is already struggling and cannot make sense of everything happening. I missed senior 1 and now I'm in senior 2 and I can't seem to understand anything and everything. Maybe if taking them back to senior 1 is not the option, maybe we want to try to examine where can they excel better and give them to go there.
Actually, I really appreciate the government of Uganda for coming up with a bridge curriculum, which actually is trying to bridge the gap of the lost learning. And that's really good. And that's why this program called The Lead is trying to support the process of making sure that the girls bridge the gap of the lost learning. But again, the unique things about this intervention is that we're using the social emotional learning. You talked about that some of them, they're already depressed, like some of them they're mentioning. So we need to adopt certain way of facilitating or teaching the children so that their mental health is also recovered as they also learned the normal curriculum. And that's the approach that we are trying to promote to ensure that at least it can be replicated around the globe, within the country, but also in other places as well. So thank you so much for coming and talking to the girls, inspiring the girls. So otherwise, thank you so much. But before we close, I want you to just look at the camera and advise the parents who are out there, but also the leaders, especially in different arenas. Leaders talking about the parental leadership, parents, the leaders, the government officials, the politicians. What can they do to ensure that the children are really getting the great environment for learning? Learning not just in classroom, but holistic learning for them to catch up with the challenges of this world. So maybe you would want to just in 1 minute summarize your advice to the government, to the leaders, to the parents.
Thank you, Emmy, and thank you, our viewers out there. My word to everybody, because this is my conviction, everyone is a leader. You're leading consciously or even unconsciously. So you have a responsibility to do. 1, whatever you do, do it knowing well that a child somewhere is learning. Can be your child, can be any child in the community. When I go to places like in schools, like we are in schools, I'm always very observant. These are places where we are raising leaders. And I'm walking around. I've not seen it in these particular schools, but I see it in every school. And the ceiling board is flying away. It's not fixed. The litters are everywhere. The bottles, the cavera, and all these kind of things. And we have teachers and head teachers moving everywhere, and some of them kicking the litter. The children are watching. And then they see, oh, Teacher Solomon did not pick that. I will also not pick it. The ceiling joint is actually falling, and nobody thinking about it. Maybe that is how it should be. And so they learn from us so much from the things we do as opposed to things we tell them to do. So be a conscious leader. 2, let every father be a father to every child. This ideology of just giving your children, your biological children, or the children within your household, your teaching, your lessons, and your love is segregating against other children. Let me challenge you. If your child is the only rich person in that community, and every other children in the community have become thieves, tell me what kind of peace or life your rich child will have in the community full of poor people and robbers and all those kind of things. Terrible. Insecurity and everything. So your responsibility as a leader who has been put there by government, by the NGO, by the company, or whichever fraternity you work with and for, be a father to every child. Not every child you see has opportunity of having a father figure. Some of them are orphans. Some of them are single mother kind of house or parenting. And you could deposit that good seed in that child. But also if you have anything to do in terms of resources, do not divert funds meant for education, fund meant for maybe healthcare, because some child is going to that facility and needs treatment or needs service, and you're in that office and you need to be modeling how we need a corruption-free world. We need a world where everybody cares and love for everybody. We need a world to be a better place for all of us. So you have a responsibility to yourself, to your children, and to the children of the community. And I hope you take that challenge and do your part, and God will reward you in due time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Solomon.